comment that people want to be here to address anything special?
Mark? Yep, I'm just here just to find out when they plan on doing our streets up there on Heritage Drive,
Okay.
if there's anything in the making.
There'll be some discussion later on
Okay.
tonight.
To go along with that too, that public comment section is, on one meeting prior, so it'd be our October or it'd be our November meetings. There are cards up there that if you do have something to talk on, if you can fill those out and then turn them in to Mark, and that would be the opportunity now then is for when you can speak on those, agenda items.
But if you're here just to listen, you know. All right, okay, we are gonna discuss the agenda. Is there any additions or corrections?
So I guess this would be our first consent agenda that we kind of talked about for a little bit of just trying to make things smoother. Basically, Chelsea just sent it over just to clarify if that's what I was kind of looking for. One thing I did miss was the approval of the agenda. That'd probably be better before. So Mark brought up a good point with that. But everything else is stuff that usually we sit here and go, yes, okay, this one's okay, motion second, yes, like that sort of stuff, easy, cheesy stuff. That's in there. There's some other stuff that's usually pretty easy, but I chose to leave out, depending on what the commission feels about it, because it has to do with money. So like the Lions Club waiver of fees, the River Rider waiver of fees, if there's like some sort of financial aspect to it, I think it'd be best just to have a straight up vote individually on that item. If you guys would rather put everything in there, that's completely fine, but that was just kind of my thinking on it. So just some changes would be bringing the approval outside and then everything else, unless you guys have any other suggestions or anything like that.
I agree with that. That's it. Go from there.
So I guess motion to approve the agenda as written.
Okay. Second. Any more discussion? If not, all in favor? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, now we're gonna move on to the consent agenda items.
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second. Okay, any more discussion? If not, Jamie?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Okay, number 5, Lions Club waiver of fees. Chelsea, you wanna, you've got that information?
Yep, so do you. The Lions Club waiver of fees is for the Lions Carnival. They are doing that on March 14th of 2026. It'll be upstairs. Typical, I guess, waiver of fees for the Lions Carnival that they do every year.
I will make a motion to approve the waiver of fees for the Lions Club.
Second.
I guess I'll abstain. I'm a member, so I don't know if that, if I should vote, so maybe I'll just.
Sure.
But
All right, thank you for bringing that to our attention. Keith?
Yes.
And yes, motion pass. Okay, CAG, local, oh, I'm sorry, River Riders, waiver of fees.
Neil, if you want to come up, we can talk on it.
I think everybody, we're River Riders in Washburn. We're a nonprofit organization. We're a motorcycle club. We raise money for the area, Washburn, McLean County, Oliver County, and we do a scholarship, 2 $1,000 scholarships every year in McLean or Oliver County. We have our 10-year anniversary coming up of doing this fall, and then we'd like to have the fees waived and never asked for it before. It's one way that we can raise money for not only the scholarship, but we donate money throughout the year to anything in Washburn or McLean County, whether it be individual or the soccer club or, you know, Little League or anything like that. So just either reduced or waived fees.
We've talked about in the past, I believe, besides the cleaning fee, right? That's kind of what we talked about from the process, I believe.
Yeah, they still have to.
Yep,
have
it's
a
just a
deposit.
cleaning fee.
So I'll motion to waive the fees, and I don't have to say anything with the cleaning fee, because I just assume that that's still in there?
Yeah.
That's, I'm confused.
Yeah,
Okay,
because we
motion.
added that prior, so. sorry, thinking your
No, you're
motion.
fine. So just motion to waive the fees.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? Jamie?
Yes.
Yes.
And yes.
Okay, so no cleaning fee either, it's just a whole
No,
fee?
there is a fee.
Okay, so I'll just stop in and say that then.
Yep, that'll be
Yep.
perfect.
Okay.
And you can pay that when you pick up the keys too. That's
Okay,
in February, not a big deal.
perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, John Schultz, Clint Hill Memorial. Come on up, John. Are you here by yourself or?
Was a Legion member too.
We're gonna, sure, come up,
Just give you an update.
Yeah. have a chair.
We have, the rock, or the memorial itself, is currently being fashioned in Georgia. And it's a 6 foot by 5 foot wide, 3 foot deep structure, and of course, the flag draped on one side and a lot of information on the front and back about where to go. Once that's completed, in about 3 or 4 months, that'll be sent to Minot, where, they have the ability there to put the brass plate together of that Zapruder picture when he was climbing on the back of the vehicle. Below that, a lot of verbiage on that particular day and a lot about his career. On the backside, there's 5 locations that'll talk about his upbringing in North Dakota. Certainly Washburn will be mentioned. The 5 books that he's been part of, his advocacy for PTSD will be mentioned. That was his wife's suggestion. She's helping fashion all the wording that's going on this structure. Today I got word from Senator Hoven's office that he'll be here for the dedication. Also Julie Fedorchak. Haven't talked to Kramer yet. But the dedication, if you want to record this, is set for August 1st, 2026. We want to stay clear of the dedication of the library, Theodore Roosevelt Library on July 4th. A lot of people will be busy with that. Plus, Lisa McCubbin Hill, really busy lady, and her June and July is extremely busy. We're starting our public relations campaign. There's their article that appeared in the Minot Daily News. There'll soon be one in the Bismarck Tribune. And of course, you're aware of the one that was in the Leader News about a month ago. We'll soon have some in Dickinson Press and Grand Forks Herald. Have a heck of a time talking to anybody before. But anyway, we're starting that out initially just to get just a smattering of this is occurring. And then once they get the contacts, then, as we get into next year, April and May, we'll really hit them with what's happening, when the dedication is, who's going to be there. We have the 188th Army Band coming apparently. So that's nice. Joe Weiss was working on that. So things are falling in place. And on the fundraising side of things, we're probably at about 16,000, which is very good. So.
What was the overall goal for all the fundraising?
It was 150,000, but the granite memorial itself and all the work that's going to be done on that's right in the 90,000 area. So if you gentlemen are interested in a wonderful contribution, we'll look forward to that.
How much of your fundraising efforts are expended already? So have you written letters, put out that stuff? I know you explained the paper and that sort of thing. Where's that process at?
Well, that's one of the reasons too. We have these news releases where we have information in there where you can contribute. And as we go along, we think of different individuals and businesses that we can send to. And we had a big, 3 pages of businesses, mostly local, that was sent through the True Bank by Tony Thorson. And as we think about different people and businesses that we might have worked with in the past or would have a mindset to contribute, we continually send those letters out. So,
Gotcha. What kind of number do you have in your head? What are you thinking about, do you think?
30 to 40.
Yeah, okay. That's about where I was at too. I don't know, 30 to 50 in my head. But I don't know what you guys think. So
Where are we at for funds for this kind of a dedication?
It'd probably be sales and use, would be my guess.
Yeah, donations from a city are really sticky.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, so, it has to specifically be stated what organization it's going to,
Mhm.
the amount it's going to, the fund it's going out of. It has to go to an organization, it can't just go to a person. Because essentially it's the taxpayers' money that you're donating, so it's very sticky for a city giving out donations.
Gotcha.
So there is some paperwork that we're gonna have to,
If it's gonna go to sales and use tax, I guess I would ask that they fill out the sales and use tax form. Generally, it's up to you guys if you want to decide not to make them do it, but if anybody comes in and asks for money out of sales and use tax, they have to fill out the form and do it that way. I guess to keep it clean, I would recommend doing it the same. Now, if you don't want to, you can just take it out of there by stating that it's going to, I don't know if it's an actual organization that's set up separately, of where it's going to, that you want to donate that out of sales and use tax for things. It has to be very clear.
Is this an organization? Who's asking?
Well, we have an actual account at the bank for it, but it's to, the Victor B. Wallen Post, strictly to Glenfield Memorial.
And is it going to the Legion at all, or is this like a Legion adjacent sort of thing, or?
Well, this is basically the community account. So,
Yeah, I thought it was sort of a Legion thing.
well, it is Legion. We're paying for some of it, then also, it's also drawing in the Washburn community for donations, businesses, individuals.
Right.
And it's a memorial, which gives it more latitude for the city to do it because it's a public it's a public place with a memorial,
Right.
that you can do it. So, I mean, I would be very specific in your motion of the amount and where you're paying it out of.
No, for sure. And that makes sense. 'Cause I mean, you go to these places, you see the museum, all these different centers, it'll have City of Minot, City of Bismarck on there. So I know something that is done, right? And it's just doing it properly.
yeah, I would like to see us do the paperwork,
Mhm.
dot the i's and cross the t's before we commit to a good money amount.
Mhm.
That way,
Understandable.
there isn't any backlash.
Gotcha.
And then, hopefully at the next meeting, you wouldn't have to be here for that. Because you presented your information tonight, so, and then hopefully we'll have a full commission in order.
Well, we have many members in Washburn that could do this paperwork without me being here.
Sure, yeah.
No issues there.
On the paperwork, do you put an amount on there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's what they're asking for.
Yep, so we should get to that point for sure. And then also, would it be cleanest to give to the park board because they own the land? Or, because the Legion's kind of adjacent to this.
No,
Park
because
board
it's going
is-
to this organization.
But is there an organization that's not the Legion or just a bank account?
Well, I'm pretty sure it's a Legion, but we just have the money from the donations in the bank account here.
Mhm.
And then that's what I'm saying, so it's the Legion that would be
Mhm.
receiving it, like in the, we write the check and the receiving party would be the Legion.
Yeah.
You wouldn't write it to a
We
bank
have,
account.
the check would specifically be written here.
Yeah. Yes, right. So would it make a difference between doing it between the park board and the Legion? Doesn't matter. The only reason I say the park board is because they own the land, but then they're working on the project, so I don't know if it matters either way. I don't know. So, so the check be written to the Legion, so that portion's taken care of the possible situation. Now we need to figure out which account. I would say sales and use. If that makes sense. And then just an amount. So whatever amount you guys think, I guess.
I feel we should fill out the proper paperwork before we come to an agreement on the money amount.
But for the proper paperwork, they have to ask for a specific amount.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I would say 30,000. And then we could always up it in the future. If we feel there's a need.
Mhm. So I guess we probably shouldn't vote or motion or anything on that because we want to wait for the paperwork, because that'd be the proper way to do it. But that'd be the suggestion of the president, would be 30,000, I guess. So
Okay.
you guys do what you want with that information, yeah. I think, maybe, I don't know.
No.
So then I guess we'll have to just see how the commission would vote once we receive the paperwork, so we want to keep
Of course.
everything in order, right? So, did we cover all the
Yeah.
particulars?
Who wants the paperwork?
Well, what do you think, Gary? You want to deal with it here? Or,
Just give it to the board and we'll go from there.
okay,
Do you want to stop it and pick it up?
Sure.
Okay.
yeah, we probably work on it in the back meeting. Yeah, okay. We have a meeting tomorrow night, still here. That's our normal second Tuesday of each month.
Okay, we are closed tomorrow, so if you want that paperwork, get it tonight before you leave.
Super.
Thanks for coming back. Sir, there's another step as it goes.
I'm
right?
glad I came back.
Yeah, we're very excited about this Flint Hill Memorial because it's going to draw a lot of attention in Washburn and hopefully.
Well, it is, and just one more thing, I think I mentioned the first time I was here. The Department of Tourism has grants for various projects, and I'm looking more into it and probably go for a $10,000 grant to develop a brochure on the Flint Hill Memorial. And I think even the Department of Tourism might kick in some money because it's a pretty important thing. And they may have that available all over the state, you know. I think it could generate some interest for a while. I really do.
There's a lot of things that you could like plug into, like whatever that thing, the Talking Trails or whatever, that app where that could get its own stops. There's a lot of different aspects to it for sure. But,
Yeah, well, we had a chance to meet Lisa McGovern Hill. She'll be here. Her family, his two sons. And I'm been in contact with the Hill family from Bismarck and Garrison. And they pretty much all know about it, but I've had one gentleman get together addresses so that I can make them specific letters when we have more information and the details of the dedication are set.
Sure.
We have time, there's no doubt about that. But it flies, so want to get all set for the final push next spring.
Yeah, it was an honor meeting him when he got his Rough Rider.
I bet it was. Yeah. Well, thank you, gentlemen.
no,
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, second reading of the ordinance 180 Otter Tail franchise agreement. You wanna step forward?
Yeah. So I don't know that I have much different that I didn't mention before. I did want to follow up. Jamie, you asked about a pole or bad pole or something.
Sure.
So I did confirm that we did the testing last year. We were actually replaced 8 here in the last, since I was here last month.
I've seen him.
Yeah, you maybe see him doing a few. So there's 8 that were done. They were kind of considered priority reject poles, so severe, most severe, if you will. Then there's 7 more to come next year that have also been identified already. So I didn't realize that testing had already occurred when I was here last time, but I did want to follow up with that. So I don't have anything else, Mr. President, unless there's questions for me. I'll certainly entertain those.
I read through the paperwork. Everything looks on the up and up.
It should look very similar to the one that existed 20 years ago.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess I'm not sure if it matters overly. Maybe this is the same as the old one, which wasn't even a Word document, if I remember correctly. Like at the end where it just for whatever. Like it talks about city council and then a mayor. We don't have a mayor or a city council. We technically have a commission and then there's a president of the commission.
Oh,
Is that how
sure.
the old one was too? Or-
I would guess it probably was. It was actually Chelsea caught it. So down on the signature, the signatory line even said mayor. probably said city council, I don't remember that for sure, but it
Yeah.
said mayor, cause that's why this one says president of the commission,
I
city of
think I added
Washburn.
the old one on here.
Oh,
But I
sure.
say, I
Maybe
did
you-
have,
Okay,
I
and
did
maybe you
have
look,
him
sorry, I
corrected.
didn't even realize which one
did,
you're looking
okay.
at.
Nope, sorry, it must be the old one.
Okay.
in the packet. Okay.
And
I
there
think I
might be
must have added the
verbiage
old one.
within one of the
It was
sections still,
only- Yeah.
but this said the signatory line at the bottom, I
12.
did get updated.
It still says city council in 12. I mean,
Yeah, from
Yeah,
our
yeah,
aspect, that's
doesn't
certainly
matter,
fine,
sure.
that is
Okay.
pretty much a boilerplate doc.
sure.
I can
then-
assure you there's other city commissions that are like that, but I appreciate the awareness. It's something we probably should update when we're doing commissions versus councils.
No problem, and I'm not like a huge personal issue with it or anything,
Yeah.
it's just something I noticed.
Yep, no, I appreciate you bringing it up.
And if that's not the issue, I guess I motion to approve, do the motion to approve. second reading.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jamie, you want a second? Oh, yep, second. Okay. Any other discussion? If not, Jamie?
Yes. Yes.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Can I get a couple signatures quick before I leave?
Sure.
Does that work?
Yeah.
And Chelsea, someone will be in touch with you. We'll need to get copies of minutes and we'll send you a copy back.
Okay.
So we'll drive all that, just so you know.
Okay, sounds good.
That's coming. Great, thank you.
It's nice to go home with all the signatures done.
That's right. It's a much better feeling than the inverse, I can assure you.
And thanks again for driving here again.
Yeah, no, thank you guys. Appreciate the partnership.
Sure.
Can I send this one too?
Yeah, he did sign it too, that way. One of these got lost in the mail once between Jamestown and Fergus Falls. This is the CYA to make sure that I got an extra copy. Said we'll get you a copy back with everything else.
Okay, sounds good.
Awesome, thank you,
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Yes.
All right, we're gonna move on. Number 9, second reading of update ordinance 117A-2. Talks about violation and penalties.
Yes, and that's what's published in the paper, because it is a penalty, they have to publish in the paper. I guess just to reiterate, the biggest thing on here is that, to hold some validity to this violations and penalties for our planning and zoning ordinance, that if people do not comply, there can be daily penalties of $150 per day, may be assessed if compliance is not accomplished within the time specified, and that any penalty can be assessed against the property if unpaid. So,
Thank you for reading that. I will make a motion to approve the second reading of ordinance 117A-2.
Second.
Is there any more discussion? If not, Jamie? Yes.
Yes.
And yes. All right. Planning and zoning recommendations, variance request submitted by Jared Oberlin.
the planning and zoning, committee, I guess, has approved recommendation for his request. He is requesting to build 2 houses on the lot lines on the front and on the sides. The one house 2 will also have a non-street parking variance, as there may not be adequate room to put in a driveway for off-street parking. The public hearing was held, and the planning and zoning recommendation, I guess, is to approve him to build on the lot line.
It's motion to approve the variance request for Jared Obering.
I'll second that. Is there any more discussion? Jamie?
Yes. Yes.
And yes. All right. Number 11, salt purchase.
Okay, we have quotes, I don't know where I'm at. For the purchase of the salt, last year we did some bulk rather than the pallets. He's asking to order some coarse rock salt and some half coarse white and half treated salt.
I'm here.
Do you want this?
Yeah. So last year we went to bulk purchasing of our road salt for the winter. These are the same people. The price went up $2 per ton. It's not a lot. So we have two choices here. Just go with the regular rock salt is what we've always done. But they also have a treated salt that's good to around -25. The drawback of that is probably likely more corrosive. We don't know exactly what it's treated with because it's proprietary. And I think I brought this option last year and we decided to go with the rock salt. But I thought I'd just bring the option again. I talked with Jamie a bit about it and we thought about maybe next year getting a separate truck of the treated salt to set aside for when it's really cold and we just need to use it. Otherwise, we just use the regular salt as normal.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does this salt hold over the next year if you tarp it or anything?
Well, we mix it in with the sand, so it doesn't, it doesn't get rained on or anything. I mean, the top layer does, but in the end, it's not very much.
Okay.
Yeah, so it does get preserved, and the sand we have left over from last year still has the salt in it. So, yeah.
So, yeah, we're thinking maybe this year get the coarse rock salt only. And then, like you said, maybe next year we maybe still have the stockpile of coarse rock salt, depending how the winter goes, how much you have to use. And then, next year maybe looking at the treated salt as well. But,
So you want to make a recommendation and
I make a motion that we go with the coarse rock salt this year. We got a truckload.
It's a truckload, so the price is approximate depending on the final tear weight of the truck. So, but it's going to be approximately 3,400.
Yeah, so I make a motion, we go with the coarse rock salt, a truckload of that, at approximately $3,400.
Second.
any more discussion? If not, Jamie?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right.
So the next thing,
I'd like to say that I'd like to thank you guys for passing this already for me. Hey, thank you.
Thank you, Lions Club.
Yeah, have a good day.
Take care.
the second purchase I'm bringing is the water meter base station reader upgrade. So you guys, I think you guys all know, but about 15 years ago, we did a major upgrade to the way we read meters. Before, you read your own meter and you brought in a slip and you paid them, you paid the resulting fee. What we do now is we have a breakout box that we drive around once a month to get the reading from the water meters that that have radio boxes attached to them. Since then, technology has obviously improved, and now they have a base station that sits on top of the water tower, and it reads water meters whenever you ask it to. Obviously, the draw of that is there's a lot that it can help with. It's obviously we have less labor intensive, better access to information, and probably the best use case for it that I can probably pitch to you is that it can not prevent, but it can detect leaks within a day's time instead of a month's time. We've had over the past couple of years some significant damage done to people's basements, but not just damage, but also leaks that end up costing people $200-300 that they didn't know about, like a leaky toilet or whatever, that obviously we can't catch until we do the reading every month. Something like this, it would tell you the next day if there's an unusual amount of water that went through somebody's meter. And then you could immediately tell them to either prevent too much of a fee or perhaps even damage to their property. And I don't know, Chelsea could probably speak better to the office use case for it, how it improves the workflow in the office.
Well, it'd be easier too, because then if we have move outs or people that are leaving, they can come in and ask for their bill. Now they'll ask, can they pay it? We can't. We have to wait till the last day of the month when we do meter readings. They could do it. They could come in that day. We could give them their finalized bill. It'd be a little more accurate than prorating it for the prior owners and new owners. Like, I guess the biggest thing too is to touch on that we can pull that up and it'll tell you like their daily usage water. If you can see one day you average 200 gallons, we'll say, then the next day you were going up to 800 and then you're going up to 1,000. We're gonna find that within 3 days versus that month of people going way over with it. And it's a little more accurate, I guess, for the water billing aspect of it too in here. So, and we don't have to wait on the guys to go out and read them.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys are aware necessarily, but going into next year, we have paid off a portion of the payments for the water treatment plant upgrade that was done how many years ago, 15 years ago or so. So we do have some extra money that will be in the water fund. We've had plans to do a bunch of upgrades, not just to the distribution system, but all the water treatment plant itself. And also we want to kind of replenish that water fund after a couple of years of it hasn't really been growing because of these payments. But I mean, I think this is a great first step for upgrading. You know, we're already bought into the census system, so it's not like we're going to switch from census to somebody else. All our meters are census and everything like that. So obviously this would keep us locked into census, but in the end, we're already in that infrastructure. So yeah, I don't know what your guys' thoughts on something like this is, but I think it's a worthwhile upgrade. Something to point out is that there's a yearly cost for data hosting of the oldest information it's $5,568. I've been told that goes up 3% a year. And that's based on how many meters we have. So if we add more meters, the cost goes up a little bit. But I think I had them base it on 590, which we don't have. No. But we are planning to add quite a few, depending on some other things like that. Garden Drive, because they don't have individual meters at the moment, so that would add another 10 or something, whatever it is. So yeah, so I tried to bake that into the price already.
So how, do you know how you could put those parameters in there to where, you know, you'll get a flag of somebody's use?
Yep, that'll all be handled with the software, and they'll do training on that and everything. So, yep, that's all in the price. Yeah, so the census will send an expert up here to install the software and to train us on it.
And sorry, just to be clear, so the software has automation where if it notices like a certain amount increase, it'll automatically let you know.
Yeah.
Rather than like someone having to go in there.
Yeah.
So he has something similar. I just wanted to.
Yeah. So it does that already, but it will, that monthly reading, it'll be like, hey, this one seems like it read too much. Gotcha. So yeah. So it's the same idea. It's just on a much smaller time scale than month to month.
What do you think the lifespan of the system will be?
That I don't know. I would, I mean, we've had our current system for 15 years, and it still seems, I mean, it's older technology, but it works just fine. I wouldn't expect it to go obsolete anytime soon.
There are a few other towns that have implemented this in the last couple of years.
Garrison,
I know Garrison's one of them, Botno. I know those two for sure.
Either Underwood did it, or they're thinking about doing it as well.
I can't remember.
I know I was involved when we went to the meter reader system, and that helped out a lot. And I know I worked for somebody just west of Washburn that had a large water leak and they didn't find it for a month. Well, that ran into hundreds of dollars for that organization, so. I think it's a good idea.
And to be clear, this is just for like reading and metering. It's not like shut off valves like that are
No.
remote.
Nope, this is just for reading the water meters themselves.
There's a button you can get for that.
That's not good.
There's,
Yeah,
there's separate water
that's
meters that
separate.
you need
Yeah,
for
yeah,
that, but yes, that is an option.
I don't really like that. Now that I do.
Yeah.
It's all different meters.
So what's the cost then?
$36,559.
So that's
Yeah.
yearly.
Oh.
And that's a one-time setup right there.
So it's this plus this.
So it'd be.
So with everything else going on,
And we do have
Oh, that's the
money in our,
wait,
That went down.
you should have money in the water fund, right,
Yeah,
to pay for this?
We will, and like I said, we have money, especially coming next year, and I would recommend that we end up making this purchase official on the first of the year, so.
I would have said the
Yeah.
same thing too.
Would you
yeah.
have money in the account to pay for it
Yes.
at that time?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And with all the other upgrades, you got coming, this is accounted and this is the next step you want to make to.
Yes, yeah, this is kind of jumped ahead of some other upgrades we wanted to do, but I'm fine moving those back to the next year, so.
How long does it take you guys to do monthly readings?
It takes us about an hour or an hour and a half to drive around, and then she does some prep on the USB drive beforehand, so maybe a half hour. We do an hour and a half drive around, then we hand off the USB drive back to them, and then they do whatever they do with it, and import all that data from the drive around unit.
So would everything just come back to the girls then?
It would just be on the computer without having to, move data around.
Or you would see it, or they would see it?
They would see it, yeah.
They would see it.
And then I guess, to be honest, yeah, we can track it daily too. So I know we've had a couple people come in and say that they didn't know why their water bill was high for that month. So we sent the guys out there, read it, send it back out the next day, try to read it, or in 3 days, we can watch that on the computer daily and see like if it's fluctuating, if there's something, and then be like, hey, you can go look at it, this, and this. And
Right.
9 times out of 10, it comes back to a leaky toilet usually, but we'll be able to see those daily, and there's flags that pop up on there that'll say like alerted of high rate usage being used or something like, I can't remember exact words of how he said it works, but
I guess if it makes anyone feel better about the yearly cost, with just the labor numbers that he gave me, just napkin math, it would be about $1,700 a year. Then you subtract that 5,500 from that, you're close to maybe $3,600 a year if we're actually accounting for saved labor costs. So I just know yearly and monthly fees aren't the most fun thing, but we are saving some labor.
Yeah, and we haven't really talked about raising our rates for this monthly fee either, just because like I said, we're gonna have that room in the water fund going forward. So I don't think this upgrade necessitates an increase to the water rates, so.
Sure. Yeah, I don't think so either. Okay.
and would this also show like main breaks to where your water tower usage, or is this?
Not necessarily. There is future technology in water meters that they can communicate with one another and tell if there's like a pressure reduction in between them. That we do not have that technology in our meters right now, but this system would allow that if we ever do upgrade our meters.
Yeah, it's good to know. I'll make a motion that we upgrade the water meter reading system.
Second.
Any more discussion? Jamie?
Yes.
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 Okay, what's the next one?
Air
Air compressor. Yeah,
Oh,
we
there
said-
it is.
No, you move there.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, it's on the last page. Okay, I got it.
Yeah, air compressor.
Yeah, okay, so, I think you guys know that, our old air compressor died in a fireball, back in April, from a fuel line failure. Since then, we've rented a compressor 3 times, I think it was?
Yeah.
Yeah. Approximately $1,000 every time. We usually have a need for it for about a week. And we kind of condensed our usage of that because of that. So we do use it more than 3 weeks out of the year, but we tried to only rent when we absolutely needed it. So obviously, you know, you think about that cost every year, and we should probably get a replacement for that air compressor. I looked around. It's hard to find good used air compressors that are newer, especially. You can find old ones that have low hours or new ones that have high hours. That typically is what you end up seeing. And you know, what I came back with for at least this for today is one from United Rentals. The benefit from buying from a rental place is that they do all their maintenance, and you know that they've done it. On the other side, this particular unit has 2,500 hours on it, and the cost is $12,750. I was trying to get a quote today to give you guys an idea of what it costs to buy a new one. He did not get back to me in time, unfortunately, but I believe it's around $40,000 for a new one. But you know, we can keep looking if that's what we want to do. We have time because we don't really use it in the wintertime. I prefer certain brands. There are some brands that I don't like because of, I won't say who they are, I guess. But the hookups come out of the wrong side of the machine, which I think the way we use it we could end up damaging it rather easily. So I do prefer certain brands, but depending on what your guys' thoughts on this, I can go back and keep looking for over the winter. I've been told that more will come for sale once the sprinkler season is over, which is either soon or has already happened in last week. So depending on what you guys think.
What size of a motor and tanker are you looking at?
We're looking at the 185s, and that's slightly bigger than what we had before. But especially to run our jackhammer is pretty much what we need.
Pretty much all these air compressors are gas, not diesel.
Nope, they're diesel.
Oh, they are
Yep.
diesel. Okay.
Yep.
And then just so the cost in my head is right.
Yep.
Would this one be comparable to the $1,000 one that you're renting? Like
Yes.
Ish motors, same.
Yep.
Okay.
This is the same. I think if this is not the unit that we rented, it is similar. It is the same model as the one we rented. Yeah.
I don't know, I think we got time to look, and I guess wouldn't mind spending a little bit more money, like say if a new one's 40,000, maybe look at a new one, or something with, you know, maybe 500 hours on it, or something, you know, if it was in the 20,000, 25,000 range, you know, because like once you get to 2,500, you're having a lot of hours and maybe more repairs. So
I agree. How many hours do we use an air compressor approximately?
Oh, I'd say about 80-ish, maybe, depending on the year, obviously.
and then this you can keep inside. So
We always keep our air compressor inside, yeah, in a heated building.
so it's if we buy something nicer or newer or new, it's kept inside then. And
Which building would this be kept in if we did purchase one?
The old one was always stored in the white building across the street.
Okay.
do you have like an estimated like service life hours that the Atlas Copco get? Like,
I've seen them with 8,000 hours. It probably,
8,000 hours.
it really depends on how well you take care of them.
right?
Like anything else.
Rentals, people usually like to get their money's worth.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's being overly dainty with it, but yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. I just wonder if it's like end of life, half life, and obviously things happen right after we buy it, right? But,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's hard to tell. But
Is there any kind of maintenance checks a person could do on it to see how much wear, and like compression checks or things like that?
I'm assuming, I could ask them for those details, because I'm sure they do them. Like I said, these rental places are very particular about the maintenance on their machine.
Could we get Tim Doctor to come out of retirement?
Motor. Yeah. Yeah, we could probably just keep looking a little bit.
Table
but
it.
It seems like
Okay.
okay in my.
Yeah.
So like I know a lot about these specific tools, but yeah, it's okay-ish deal. So
Yeah.
Just keep looking, I guess.
Okay, I'll bring, if nothing else, I'll send the next meeting, I'll bring a cost of the new one. And whatever else I can find in the meantime as well.
What kind of a timeline are you looking at to try to purchase?
Well, we need it by April of next year
April
for
1st.
tarring and all that, so.
Sure.
That's, yeah, we need it for sure by then, if we were gonna buy one.
Well, we should put a March meeting, have that put on the agenda.
Or if you find any deals in the meantime.
I'll just keep
Right.
bringing them
Yeah,
as I find them, so.
but I mean, just as a guideline, try to get something purchased by. That sounds good.
And then somewhat related, do they get any like insurance money or anything from the Fireball air compressor?
Yeah, like 3286. It wasn't much.
Okay,
I think it was that the number I told you.
we paid for our rental.
Yeah.
For the year.
And that one was originally bought for, I believe, $9,000 forever ago, so.
Sure.
Yeah.
Did that one disappear when we had our cleanup?
It's gone. Yep.
It went in the metal dumpster, so. Okay, move on. Greater tire next.
Yep.
So we have some tire replacements that we need to get done. Bobcat tires are overdue. If we want to use them for snow cleaning this year, we're gonna need to replace those tires. Cost from Northwest Tire installed is $1,119.80 for those. And the Greater, about 10 years ago, had 4 of its tires replaced with modern snow tires. At the time, the 2 front tires were in pretty good shape, so we didn't replace them. But now they're definitely due to be swapped out. And the cost on those installed is $3,713.66.
We have to take those tires down there, or?
Nope,
do
they
come up here?
will come down. And that the cost is included in these quotes.
And overall, it's just something you should do, so I guess that's fine, yeah. Motion to approve that one.
Second. Any more discussion? Jamie?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and one more. So the Unimog heater upgrade. Many years ago, the Unimog snowplow, its heater died, and because it's so hard to get parts for that machine, because they do not service in North America any longer, they installed an aftermarket heater in the cab, and it works fairly well. It just can't keep up about 20 degrees and below. We have some windshield visibility issues, and it does get pretty cold in there. That machine is all windows, so at about -20, it can't keep up anymore. So what we looked at the same models, and we looked at the next model up. It puts out about twice as much heat as the one that's in there. From what we can tell, all the parts that are installed on the Unimog currently, except for the heater, of course, can be just hot swapped with the new one. So we wouldn't necessarily have to run any new lines, new feed lines or anything like that. I did quote here the whole kit itself because we can reuse the old heater in the brown dump truck that we use maybe 8 hours a year. But that heater has died in that one as well a long time ago. So we could just easily put that old heater in there and keep it warm for when we're cleaning snow off Main Street. But the cost for this replacement is $1,995 plus shipping. I wasn't sure. It might actually ship for free, but there may be shipping costs there as well.
I think it's a safety issue, if anything. I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of the new heater for the new model.
Second.
Yes.
I guess just a quick comment.
Any more discussion?
You have in here that it affects both windshield visibility and driver comfort when temperatures get low. Like $2,000 is a pretty cheap price to pay. Like, you don't really want a snowplow driver who's uncomfortable and can't see.
Yeah.
That's just not a good thing.
It does become quite an issue. And obviously it doesn't get below 20 that often, but when it does, yeah, it does become, it's definitely a safety issue, yeah.
And then obviously the dump truck's a winter vehicle that currently does not have a heater, like sometimes winter vehicle.
Yeah, that brown one's mostly, we only really drive it in the winter.
Oh, okay.
Once in a while we'll drive it for asphalting, but usually it's the white one.
It's really nice then because you can get it.
Yeah, we can reuse the old equipment.
Well worth
Yeah.
$2,000.
Yeah.
All right. Any more discussion? Jamie?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's all I've got.
Thank you.
Just stick around it.
Yep.
The garden drive.
Yeah. All right. So, Mr. Dave Pyre had a meeting with Chelsea and Adam, possibly turning over Garden Drive to the city. You guys want to discuss your meeting or?
He is looking to sell all of those houses, not the trailer court that he owns, but the little houses that he has on Garden Drive. And he wants to sell them individually. As it currently sits, Garden Drive is privately owned and it is included in each of those parcels. So their legal description includes the street. When he's looking at replatting some of this, but he came to the city to ask if we would be interested in taking ownership of Garden Drive. There was some discrepancies, I think, in what he was willing to give us as the street versus what the city would need. So I think the biggest thing that we need to figure out is if the city is willing to take on that on Garden Drive and maintain it going forward, it'll become a city street, not privately owned. And then what our requirements are to have that and what we would need to consider it a street on both sides of it, including the boulevard, and how many feet of that we would actually need. So I think the biggest thing to determine really is if we want to take that on. And I did include, I guess, in that extra picture that I had printed out, showed the water and sewer lines. And unfortunately, they kind of sit underneath the houses there, but that is something to, I guess, consider as well. I did email Eric last week as well, kind of for his thoughts too of looking at that, and he does say that he would recommend that we'd have at least 24 feet.
The reason that I say that is if you're worried about access for fire, police, EMS, it'd be good to have city property or city access to those properties, those individual properties. But one of my other comments was if, and that the city would want to figure out is if you want to be running new utilities, like typically you want to own the street, especially if you have utilities, so that your public works can have access to those utilities to maintain repairs. But it looks like, Mr. Pyre has his own utilities that run underneath the property, so that's something to keep in mind as well, because if he's gonna be selling these off to individual, you know, assuming that it's the people that are living in those homes already, you know, those individuals, I guess right now it's not the city's problem, they would be responsible for their own utility. So hopefully they know that too, but, the city doesn't really have much that they can do to help those new homeowners if they're gonna be buying those properties, the way that's set up right now.
Right. Yeah, they would need to put in individual curb stops.
They would, because if he's right now paying the bill for all of them,
So there already are individual curb stops
Yeah.
attached to each of them. There aren't meters. Not all the curb stops work as intended, unfortunately. But just to clarify, what we're talking about here is that the water line and sewer line goes directly underneath the houses themselves. So it's quite an issue, and the city doesn't own those lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So say something happened, something broke underneath one of the houses, what would be the plan?
I don't know.
Would it be to
It's probably a different issue than the road issue, honestly.
would it come out to the road then before it got?
If you were to put in a new line, yeah, it would go out to the road. It's very difficult to repair a sewer line underneath a permanent structure or a water line.
Is that 24 feet just the road, or is 24 feet with a little bit of boulevard?
I don't know what the size of the actual road itself is currently. What is it, yeah?
if you're gonna have an alleyway, you're looking at like 10 or 12 feet, you know, minimum. But if you're gonna wanna have a roadway, I would say 24 feet for at least the road,
Just the road?
just the road.
So,
Like in Washburn, for example, like a lot of the residential streets are 32 feet from the curbs, and then from back to curb is another 4 feet, just two feet for each curb, so 36. So it just depends on, like, that's something the city is interested in doing. Those are the things you want to kind of like visualize in your head, like, okay, if most of our residential streets are this wide, or what do we want to make it? You know, do you want to make it just a regular road with, you know, a shoulder or a ditch off the road, or, you know, what you'd want to do?
Yeah.
And of course, you know, Adam and his guys would have to maintain that road as well, so that's another thing on the list as well to worry about.
Right. When we talked to him, we basically told him we need the whole of the road as it sits currently, plus a few feet in each direction. I obviously doesn't own the other side of the road, but you know, you've got considerations like potentially if you ever redo the road and you want to add curb, that's additional width to the road. Snow cleaning that road, will people have an issue if the city doesn't own 5 feet into the, you know, the boulevard? Will people have an issue with the city pushing snow onto their quote unquote property? Right now we push it onto the boulevard, which is the city's property. So I don't know, but
What's the benefit of doing this?
the benefit to taking the road on?
Yeah. Is there any?
There's no real benefit there's benefit to the future property owners.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Where he has maintained it before, and now those aren't gonna be owned by all the same person. They'll be individually owned.
It's gonna be more of a cost to the city.
Right. Yeah, I don't know how it works if he sells all those, and do they come to some sort of collective agreement to pay for the road cleaning? I don't know how it works. It'd probably be quite difficult for them.
Adam, do you think the water and sewer issue needs to be resolved before
It's
the city were to take ownership?
The water and sewer issue is probably cost prohibitive for, it'd be incredibly expensive to fix. So I don't know how to do that, but I guess there's probably no way we can stop him from selling them. So,
No.
but do those people own that section of the water and sewer line underneath of them because it currently belongs to the property as a whole? I don't know. So that's a different issue.
And we aren't like buying it, he's looking to just turn ownership over.
Of the road, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a cost thing for the city. I don't know why we purchased it from him.
Right, exactly.
I don't think he said anything to that effect.
It didn't sound like
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I think it was more so just, obviously it's going to be a financial burden for the city. So we couldn't make that decision whether or not we want to take this on or not. That the commission would have to do that. And then they're coming to an agreement of how much of the road he was willing to give us was kind of the holdup too, because with where it sits, and I don't know, we just kind of weren't on the same page of how much we really need. So I think we need to determine if we want it and what we need. And that's going to be our stipulation. So if we're going to go to no curb, we need 24 feet. If we're going to eventually curb it, or I don't think we'd do it right away. So 24 feet, that's what we'd have to have in order to even proceed going forward with it.
Yeah.
I think our guidelines need to be clear.
Well, should Adam and Eric and I go up there and look at that and see, obviously we need a minimum of 24, and then what could be potentially added for Boulevard, and then we approach Dave Pyre and see if he'd be willing to do that. Would that be the next step?
Yeah, if it's something we want to do.
I think so. I think we have to look into more of the pros and cons of this possible exchange.
Yeah, and the road itself is also not in good shape.
No.
It had some millings put on it. They were kind of spread around, but it's drivable. I guess that's the that's the positive thing I'll say about it. And this year, no garbage trucks sunk into it, so I guess it's better than it was. But it's not up to what we would call probably our standards. Right. Yeah.
We did talk about, and there probably isn't much base underneath
No,
that road.
There's
And it
for
would
sure a
have
layer of
probably,
asphalt and different types of gravel throughout the years.
and it would have possibly stay a gravel road, which,
It's millings right now, but yeah.
or millings.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like not built, like we have different ordinances for streets and all this, it's not built to
No.
that, and it's like,
No.
well, this is a street, so you should probably take care of it, so you should take it, so there's like a weird expectation there.
Yeah.
I don't know, it doesn't seem like a good deal overall, I guess.
Yeah,
Obviously, you guys want to take a look.
It's very odd. If somebody buys one of these properties, according to this, they could block off the road if they wanted to, because they own it.
Well, I think it's something we should look at to protect the people who are buying that and have it a normal situation. For those people.
And ultimately, if road improvements need to be done, it's paid for by the people that will live there. That's usually how it works. I mean, yeah, city pays for some of it, but in the end, a lot of that cost ends up going to the people that end up living along that road. So,
I'll make a motion that Jamie work with Eric and Adam and do a little bit more research on this.
Second.
Any more discussion? Jamie?
Yes.
And yes. All right. All right, 17. I wanted to talk about the 2026 street maintenance, what our plan is. I guess I drove around with Eric. You want to join us? Sure. Because we're also going to discuss heritage area too. To see what Jamie's thoughts are on street improvements. What we did this last year, with the extra chip sealing and stuff like that to help preserve our streets a little bit longer, hopefully before. Because I know we've been running into a lot of specials on taxes and stuff like that, so we have to be considerate of the tax consumers and what our projected projects are before we take on another big street improvement, which we've talked about the last couple of years of heritage, and then the drainage issues.
Yeah,
So do you want to talk about that a little bit?
yeah. As far as the 2026 maintenance, that's the kind of the concept of spending thousands versus millions. You know, with upgrading this, we're doing the crack sealing and we're doing the mastic.
Yep.
So, we're kind of doubling down that way, trying to protect, you know, yeah, you're right, we did the chip sealing and then we're doing the crack filling and the mastic this next year to try to protect what we got. And then, I don't know, the thought was trying to go every 5 years between big projects, but Custer and Heritage, you know, they're kind of getting to the point. So I guess my thoughts on Heritage and Custer, because that was, it would basically start where you come off 83, right? It would go up Heritage. I don't know if anybody got that map. I think I got it here. But it does go up there. So before we get started on that, what's everybody's thought on doing specials on this project before we do the project?
I mean, that's how it should be done, but we just
So-
have a committee formed or we would go kind of go for it.
So do we still have a special assessment committee form?
We do, yeah. The only hard part with that, I guess, is if we special out a project that we have an estimate amount on, and it comes in less or more, we have to either A, refund that money, back if they overpaid, or B, we have to go and collect more money. So we have to go determine how we pay for that difference, or, I mean, obviously the excess, we just refund it if there's comes in too high, but that's, unless we would actually put it out for bid it, get it a certain price, we're kind of, I mean, you're grasping at a number.
So would that work? I mean, in a perfect world, or the thought is getting the ratio figured out, right? You know, off the estimated value of it. It doesn't work that way though. I mean,
Yeah, you certainly could, and it would give a rough estimate of what it would approximately cost if we're gonna go to keep it 50% to the project area, 50% out of the project area.
yeah. So that was kind of the thought, is at least get the ratio figured out so people know what they're paying, and then when we get the actual bid, we just plug in that number to the ratio. You know, I don't know. Can it work that way?
Wouldn't that be where our special assessment policy would come work like? Like, what's the status on that? Or still doing that like Abby and we're working on all that?
Yeah, we're waiting on Lindell to get back to us on a couple things on that, so.
I mean, once we have that, that'd be the ratio.
Yeah.
So we would give you guidelines going forward with that.
So, but then yes, this winter, I suppose, yes, start moving forward with what.
And so what we've done in the past, as an example, Jamie, is when we've gone to do a project, you could use that as an estimate, like use the policy as an estimate once we provide an engineer's cost estimate for the project. But you could send that out to everybody and say, hey, this is about how much we think it's going to cost. This is about how much we think your specials are going to be. But like Chelsea said, like, you won't know until you do that final balancing change order at the end of the project what the total construction costs are going to be. So that's exactly what it is. It would be an estimate.
Yeah.
So if you're wanting to do the project and you're wanting to do give everyone a cost estimate, that's what you would do. Is you'd run the best estimated cost through the special assessment policy, and then send it out to everybody. If you're wanting to gather feedback on costs from
Yeah.
residents ahead of time.
That might just be useful because then it would happen at the same time as everything else instead of dragging on after the fact. I think that's what Jamie's trying to get across.
Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, then the ratio is kind of pre-figured.
And I think that now that you have a policy in place,
Well,
very
hopefully.
soon,
Yeah.
hopefully,
Hopefully.
that will streamline the process for the special assessment committee. Because the problem is the special assessment committee had to keep going back and reworking things because they would get feedback and then they would change their minds and then they'd restart the whole process. But once a policy is in place, that kind of like sets it for them. So that'll make that process a lot quicker next
Plus,
time.
we have a committee. It took us 6 months to
Yeah.
get a full committee.
So I think that was probably more the hold up than anything, was just that committee deciding on what they want us to do.
Yeah, so that's one thing I'd like to see it done, like we're talking, at least get the estimate up front so people know what they're up for. And then, yes, because then we got a couple things coming up, don't we? We got the state grant fund, how we're gonna do that.
We have a few things going on. Yeah, we got
Yeah.
the Riverside Park Road stuff with the Flex Fund grant. We're working a couple different funding options for that Heritage Heights project.
Okay.
You know, we're in the thick of it with DWR to get that funding there for the flood control help, and then the Flex. Oh, what grant is it now? The one that's the Flex Fund grant application. That's the one that we're expecting to see results from at the end of this year. So, Special Road Fund grant was Riverside Park Road. Flex Fund grant is the one for Heritage Heights. So, obviously, whether we get that funding or not will change what your calculation would be on your special assessments too.
Right.
So, and I guess to kind of like guide the discussion here a little bit with bringing up street maintenance first. I would absolutely recommend doing street maintenance, seal coating, tarring, mastic, where it makes sense. But if we have roads that are so far beyond repair, I would not recommend doing, so like Custer Drive, Heritage Heights, or Heritage Drive, I would not recommend doing any type of work on those. Those need to be rebuilt.
Yeah,
They're beyond repair.
And I don't think that's part of.
Not on the list.
That's not.
Well, and just to be clear, and then other ones too, because Mark and I went around and looked at a few, where we have cast iron water mains, I would not recommend doing street maintenance on those, because those cast iron water mains, they need to be replaced.
And that's down on Main, right?
On Main Street is a lot of it, yeah.
From here to Third.
Yeah,
basically.
so those areas, and on top of that, and I'm going to talk about lead service lines here later, but where we have lead service lines, I would not recommend doing a lot of street maintenance because we're going to most likely be digging the street up, and that again is in more of the older part of town. So, but there are some areas that it would make sense probably to do some, seal coating if we're going to be doing that. I did mention to Mark as well, like if we're going to do this Heritage Heights project, kind of how we did the 2023 project, we caught up on a lot of stuff that we hadn't done in a while, plus we did the 2023 project. So if you get that project done, and then maybe the year after that, you do another big seal coat project. So you have a little bit bigger project too. But I'd like to see, I guess, the city list their priorities on what they want to get done. And if it's that there's a street maintenance project, great. But if there's cast iron water mains or the Heritage Heights area that we know is in rough shape, those might be a little bit higher on the list, but that's up to you guys to decide.
Because I think Adam, you were thinking, this Heritage / Custer up here would be the next one, and then it'd be Main for the big project.
Yes. Yep, that would be what I would recommend, yeah.
Okay, so, yeah. This winter would be, I guess, working on that River Road down there and going out for bids on that, right? And
So what I'd like to accomplish, and if you all want to wait until you have your full commission, I think that's fine. I think that still gives us enough time. But what I would like to accomplish is the design work on Riverside Park Road. We have the grant there to use on that. That's a much smaller project in scale to Heritage Heights. And I would also like to see design work done on Heritage Heights project.
is that still the same, scope of work that you've done before?
Yeah, that would be what I've presented many times is just that Heritage Drive, or is it Dakota Drive, a piece of Dakota Drive, and then Custer Drive, and then doing some storm sewer work in that area of Custer Drive where we know we have a lot of water that comes through there, and where it's the flatter area where most of that whole road's in bad shape, but it would add some storm sewer, and then we'd have drainage improvements along Rough Rider as well. It does not have street work on Rough Rider Road. That's something if the city wanted to add that scope, we could. But we're looking to head off the drainage issues first and repair or redo Custer. And if Rough Rider Road is one that the city wanted to work on too, we could look at that as well. But that one's not in the best shape, but it's a lot better than the other roads that I mentioned. So
what should we have ready by the next meeting, or what step-by-step process you want to do?
yeah, so what I could do, and you mentioned you wanted to have a current up-to-date cost estimate. I could run the numbers on the cost, my estimated construction cost, so you guys could have that. I could have a task order ready for you guys as well to start design work on that project if that's something you wanted me to do. And I could present that to you guys, and you guys could decide to go forward with it or not. I think for sure by your regular January meeting, we're going to have 2 new commissioners next month.
Hopefully,
yeah, that's the plan. So, you would have a full commission then as well if you wanted to make a decision on that. And if not, then maybe there's a special meeting that you could have between December and January. Obviously, the more time we have, the better to get this all ready so that, we can bid at a competitive time to get competitive bids to do construction next year if that's something we're going to do.
Now, what about the drainage issues up in that area? Do they have to be resolved before we start working on the roads, right?
So it's the proposed project, street and drainage improvements. So that would address the drainage issues that we're experiencing right now. If there were to be development in that area, east of Custer Drive, those more drainage improvements could be done if a road was to be built up through there.
Mm-hmm.
If there was a development that was going to happen north of, 8th Street, north of Custer Drive,
8th Street, yeah.
Then we would evaluate that as well again. Because the drainage issues, we have all this water coming from north of town, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if there was to be a development up there, say in the future, I know that, there's some groups out there that are looking at some development north of that road, north of that. You would have to do some kind of master plan on drainage. It would help mitigate the problems that are happening south of there as that water flows through Heritage Heights. There's a lot of options that could be done with that water if you're going to be adding either a bypass, or you're gonna move it another direction, or if you're going to have a detention pond or a retention pond of some kind, that would help that as well. It just depends on what is being proposed to be developed up there. Because now the other thing to consider obviously is you have to do those improvements because once you start adding impervious surfaces to what used to be just a wide open field, you're going to have a lot more runoff that's going to happen. So that would exacerbate the problems that this area would experience, unless you can divert that drainage or do something to hold it back, or just improve the flow through that area.
Well, I think, if I'm not mistaken, if we split this into 2, like we did have it broken out, right? This was broke out from Custer.
Yeah.
I think we could still move along with the road construction projects, because even if we put this here, this is still going to go open ditch from here out.
Correct.
So this here could be written into Custer Drive part, and this could still be separate, because this will get kind of tricky with the specials too, because I don't know if you're going to stick these guys with the drainage project, and then we're trying to get funding on that as well. So
Yeah, so you would have to do an assessment of some sorts for the road improvements, and you have to do an assessment of some sorts for the drainage improvements. Yes, just like you would have if you had a water and sewer project, you'd be doing a water assessment and a sewer assessment. We are, again, the good news, obviously on cost, is we are looking at funding through DWR to help with the drainage improvements. We are looking for funding for the streets through the Flex Fund grant application that we have with the DOT right now. Which is another thing we're working on. And then on top of that, we're looking at partnering with, we've been working with the McLean County Water Board to help with the drainage costs that are occurring through there. So, you know, there's a lot of people involved, some funding that could be attained, but we still have more work to do to get those funds. So those are some of the funds and some of the partners that we're working with right now to help bring the cost down in that area, if we were to do a project.
Yeah, do you think in the next couple of weeks, maybe, you know, get the McLean County Water Board back in touch and sit down and meet with them? Maybe
Sure.
like you, Adam, and I or something, and kind of go
Yeah.
over this kind of, because we worked on it this summer a little bit, but then kind of catch back up with what we want to do.
Yeah, we're just, like I said, so it's in my update, but we have the drainage model and inundation maps completed for the DWR funding application, and that's going to go into the economic analysis and the funding application that we have to submit for them. The earliest we can submit that is December. So that's what we're working on right now. And that'll be submitted in December, and I think the timeline on that is the spring, April timeframe, if we'll know we're going to get that funding. The Flex Fund money we're anticipating to hear about by the end of the year. And I'm really hopeful on that because the biggest cost of this project is the asphalt. And if the DOT can fund that portion of the project with the Flex Fund, that would be a huge boost to this project. So that's what we're looking for on that.
Yeah, so I'd say in the next couple of weeks or so, we should probably meet up and kind of go over some of that stuff.
Okay. Absolutely. Was there anything else on street maintenance that you wanted to talk about, Mark?
Just the possibility of maybe, since the price of chip sealing is more reasonable, that maybe we would look at keeping up maintenance on, you know, street projects that were done 10 years ago to see if they need to be re-chip sealed to prolong their life. You know, like possibly going out and doing East Main and then 4th, coming down to like 8th Street, you know, from 83.
Because your chip seal is kind of like your wear surface, right? Yeah.
It adds a wear surface. But the really important thing about the chip sealing is it adds that extra layer of oil. You're waterproofing the road. That in the chips are going to hold more oil on the road for you. It does add a wear surface, but honestly, the wear surface isn't as big of a deal as the seal. That's the biggest part. That's the biggest benefit. You could say that if you have a couple, like, you know, not potholes, but a couple infirmities on the road that might help smooth it over a little bit. But it does improve the surface too a little bit.
Adam, the frontage road, when was that put in? Like 15, 20 years ago?
How old am I? 41? 23? 4? 3? 22? Something like that. 20 something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another road that could use maybe a layer of chip sealing.
I think that road has some imperfections that are going to be solved by the mastic process.
Oh,
There's a lot of
okay.
bumps in that road.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't necessarily be fixed by chip sealing it. But
Well,
it is on our mastic list for next year.
Okay.
Because
But I was thinking-
you drive on that, there's a lot of bumps in that road.
But then going, you know, once we get the mastic on there and then maybe if we can chip seal over the top of that. I mean, I think we have to keep our maintenance up as good as we can before we start going back and having to do street projects.
Well,
Take care of the priority ones. And
it's usually what, you wait a year after, like, say if you do Custer, you wait a year to.
Yeah, I mean,
to-
it's not a bad idea to chip seal it soon after you pave it. You know, some could argue that cost benefit analysis, you might want to wait a couple of years before you do it, but it certainly wouldn't hurt to do it like the next year, like we did for the other
Yeah.
project.
So some of that chip sealing might not be done till like this is due, then looking at some of those roads like you're talking, so that's maybe like a couple of years away.
Instead of next year, maybe be the year after. But it just depends on what the priority is. If there's certainly roads that we could find that would be, you know, decent candidates for a seal coating if you wanted to do a seal coat project next year. I'm just saying that, you know, if the city wants to really, you know, hone in on what the priorities are, you know, maybe that sales tax money is better spent on this project. And then the year after that, you look at seal coating this project with those other areas you identify.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of get a bigger project that we had this year with the seal coating. But again, if you have good oil, if diesel prices are low, it's a good indicator of what your oil is going to be for doing a project if you wanted to do another seal coat project. So if that's something where you want me to look at numbers for you, I could provide an estimate on a seal coat project too. But again, you know, what's the priority? That's where we got to kind of decide.
oh, then we can weigh out the numbers too, you know, and see what we have available and what the 2-cent sales.
I would say if we get both of these, the DWR funding and the Flex Fund, I would say you absolutely should be going forward with this Heritage Heights project.
Well, I think that's the plan this winter is that's what we want to do.
Okay.
Is we want to keep moving forward.
Okay.
With this, so there's not really hesitation now, is there? I mean, it's kind of
It needs to be done, yeah.
So, I mean, no, we're not going, maybe, no, this winter, we want to kind of go through and look at doing it, so.
Gotcha.
And then maybe too, with some of that 2-cent sales, we can help buy down some of the price of the projects. Like the commission did at the 2023 project.
Yeah. And another thought that I had in looking at a few things with Mark is that First Street area around the baseball field that goes to the water plant, that road really should be rebuilt. I know there's been a lot of patching there, but the recommendation that I would have is if you would have a contractor come in and pave this road, I'll look at doing that road too. I know you've done a lot of work. Yeah, we have. We did cores on that, the project we did 2 years ago, and on this one, so we have it all. I know you've been trying to keep it alive, like for
it's in rough shape.
But
and it needs more work, so yeah.
I would like to recommend doing that street at least from, you know, where the baseball field starts, where it goes around and goes up to at least the First Avenue area. That gets redone. Smaller street than this one, but that's one that we've had on the CIP for a while as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, that's just it. I mean, depending how that grant money comes through, it's like, should we sit down and do some additional streets to this, just like you said, down by the baseball?
That would be the other one I'd recommend besides this one. And then you could look at Rough Rider as well.
And then take a little bit, look up at Heritage. I don't know if that one's ready yet or not. It's just, it doesn't have a crown to it, does it? On Heritage, it's just flat, so the water doesn't go anywhere. So
it's kind of rough in front of where the water tower is.
That's the worst part of it.
Yeah. So
we got some work to do. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it'd be pretty safe just to proceed, keep the ball rolling. I know we've had a little bit of talk about waiting for the next commissioners and that sort of stuff. But I think this is just something that has to be done.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we should probably just keep the ball rolling on that.
So,
There's no real changing reality of that situation.
Is it safe to say we can push forward on the special assessment to try to do it beforehand, so trying to get that, system approved, because what are we waiting on?
I can check where the policy's at with him and see if we can have something for the December meeting.
Yeah,
But there again too, I'm gonna need a cost estimate.
Yeah.
And to go with that, and then,
Yeah, and that's what I'll do is we have a cost estimate as of a few months ago on this. So what I would do is I'd update that to current, and then I'd get a task order ready too for us to do the design work on it. So that would be included in the task order or in the estimate.
and then, yeah,
And then you could start running the numbers with the SOP of the special assessment to figure out what that would come to for people.
and as you're doing it, keep it, if you would, I still like it keeping it separate. Let's do this road separate like you did.
Okay.
And then this drainage, whatever we're gonna do with that.
So do in one estimate, do the street, and then another estimate, do the drainage?
Yeah, just
Okay.
like how we broke it up.
Okay.
That way, because like, if we're going after, the water funding through the state, we'll probably want to do that and so forth to keep it. Because like, if we put these in, the drainage in here on Custer, and we do this part here, bring it over to here, it has a place to go now, right? I mean, so.
It's all gonna go where it's always been going. So some of the flow from north of 8th is gonna be diverted over to that triangular area.
No, I'm
and
just
then-
talking about, say this gets pushed off to the side or something else happens here. These storm drains here will come out to here,
Yes,
whether or not we do this or not, right?
correct.
So
Yeah.
this can be kept as part of this job here on Custer. Right,
I mean, if you want the drainage, the true drainage costs to be together as the drainage cost, then you'd want to do all of this to include the storm sewer on this. Because that would be part of that, the drainage improvements and like a clean water SRF loan, if you wanted to get one of those, you certainly could. That would fund the drainage improvements as far as funding mechanisms go, and then in any partnership with McLean County Water Board, and DWR, and then the street improvements would be like a Bank of North Dakota or a bond, city bond, and the Flex Fund grant application through DOT. So that's what would fund that. But those would be two different special assessments. You'd have one for drainage improvements, you'd have another one for streets, if that makes sense. So I would recommend keeping the stormwater stuff with all the drainage improvements along Rough Rider and along 8th. Keep those together.
okay. You guys seeing what we're talking
Yeah,
about at all? or
yeah.
You guys,
I'm familiar with it. Okay.
I guess just to be on the safe side, there's obviously costs associated with you saying yes, then you proceeding with this.
Yeah,
First,
so there would be, and this is something that, again, this has been on the city's capital improvements plan for years. It is something that we've talked about through multiple different commissions. So I think it's a good move for the city to go forward with it. I think probably most of the people that live in that area would be happy with that too. Just looking at what the shape of the road's in, especially knowing that we're going after a lot of different funding sources to help with this. So yeah, basically the work that I do to get us to that point, that would be included. I would include that in the task order. My work would be in that task order. So.
And then should we make a motion just to approve him on that work, that you could continue to keep the ball rolling instead of us just kind of talking about it, kind of cement it forward? Because then we've had instances where it's like, oh, where'd that come from?
Yeah.
Then,
Well, and we go over so many years too. Like, I mean, even this, I've had this before you even came on the board, Jamie. You've been on the board for a while. So yeah, you get a couple new ones on. I'll have to make sure I update them so they understand where we're at, where we came from, where we're going to, like what the plan is. So yeah, I mean that would be fine if you guys want to make a motion for it. I won't really need you to until I bring a task order to you, but yeah, really up to you.
I guess since it is gonna cost us money, I'll just say I make a motion for you to continue on this work, everything we've been kind of discussing with the two separate, the drainage and then the street. And, that's just probably my motion. There might be more discussion.
I'll second the motion.
And then just for further discussion, then since the ball will keep rolling, that's when we can discuss, okay, special assessment, how should that get done? Oh, let's start the process a little bit sooner, sure, why not? Or maybe later, we can still, all that can still fall into place, but I think we should at least keep the ball rolling, and not necessarily wait for a future, more commissioners, because that will be a part of this very lengthy process.
Yeah.
As much as they want to be, I'm sure. So, yeah, I think it's a good thing just to continue on.
They'll have their work cut out for them.
Might be public comment there.
You guys are doing the paper right there. Jamie, could you, on that map right there, show me where that area that you're talking about there? Because you've got the paper, we don't see it. Where is that?
That's up here. So right here is basically, the cabin's right here, where you pull off 83. You come up Heritage, and it's right up through here on Custer Drive.
Okay, so basically the northeast side of the.
Heritage,
Yeah.
On the other side.
Yeah.
Okay, that's, but like I say, your guys are doing the paper over there, and we're trying to.
Yeah, and
Just
that
kinda wanted to see the area. right
that
there.
area north of, just to kind of give a little bit of background, that area north of Heritage Heights, that's 8th Street, that rural road, that's the city limit. And there's a lot of water runoff that comes, it's a cornfield right now, if you've been up there.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of water comes running off from there, it's a large drainage basin, and it comes across 8th, and it goes across into that open field, and it kind of, the water and runoff snakes through Heritage, through across Custer, and onto Rough Rider, before it goes right by the cabin, and then into Highway 83 ditch. So that has been kind of an issue.
And the city limits is just about where that cornfield.
Yep,
on
that
the
road,
far side right
that gravel road there, that east-west road, that's
Right.
the city limit.
there. Okay.
Jamie, if you could point to that 8th Street.
Yeah,
Yep, that right
up
there, yeah.
I kind of figured it was up that high because of that side of
And-
it. Okay.
And that's where we're working with the McLean County Water Board, because they recognize that it's kind of their issue too, and the city's having to deal with the repercussions of all that water runoff that's coming through town.
Right.
So,
I mean, that's an area where most people don't really go to, so. I mean, you've got to go visit somebody or do something for that, where it's not a
Yep.
pass-through road. Okay, for clarification, thank you.
yep, no problem.
Okay, gonna vote, Jamie?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, task order 21.
Okay, so I have this written in my update as well. It has to do with the lead and copper rule. I think I've talked this thing a lot. Adam and his guys have been doing a lot of work with it too. The EPA and the state are requiring through the new lead and copper rule improvements that every public water system has to do an inventory of their water source lines. The goal is to reduce and eliminate lead, right? Washburn's done pretty good. I don't know, Adam, that you guys have had any exceedance of lead and copper on your tests over the last many years. Maybe one, but if it is, I don't think it was over the allowable level. But just the same, the federal government and state have decided that it's something that every public water system has to work on. So that's the inventory. We submitted task order 20. We submitted the inventory update for Washburn. So that's done for 2025. The inventory has to be done every year, and the notification letters have to be done every year. So anyone who has a service line that's unknown, or is known to be lead, or is known to be a galvanized that requires replacement, there's mailed a notification letter. So what I'm proposing to do with task order 21, right now the state revolving fund, it's a federal money that goes to the states, and the states give out that money in the form of loans and partial grants. And there's the drinking water SRF fund and the clean water SRF fund. So the drinking water SRF fund, they have funding right now to that 66% loan forgiveness that public water systems can apply for to help reduce or eliminate their lead service lines. So right now we know that Washburn has 15 lead lines.
So far.
We do know we expect that there's going to be more. Unfortunately, right now like I said, fortunately, between our category A work that we did, that A2S did, and what Adam has done in the last year, we've reduced the unknowns down to about 80 unknowns on the private side water service lines. But on the public side, between the water main and the curb stop, we have a lot more unknowns, about 400 or so unknowns. So what we need to do to the best of our ability between now and November of 2027, because that's when the lead and copper rule improvements goes into effect, we need to try to eliminate as many unknowns as possible. So this funding would at least let us start going after the known lead lines. And if there's money left over, I would suggest that we, go ahead and try to investigate even to the best of our ability where there could be lead. But this money would be used to replace those lead lines. Like I said, at a 66% loan forgiveness rate. And on top of that, typically SRF loans are 2% interest rate. This has a 0.5% funding fee or 0.5% fee to it and no interest. So it's about as best financing as you can get, 0.5%. So what I'd like to do with Task Order 21 is do all the work that the state requires. The DEQ requires I should say they require a facility plan. The state historical preservation office requires a class 1 environmental and historical review to be done. So it's a class 1 desktop review. So this would all be part of this facility plan to get this funding. So the Task Order 21 would allow me to do that work for you guys. And the amount of money that we put in for the loan application is up to the city, but I'd recommend at least $500,000 because I know that we could replace all the lead lines with that funding. If you apply for that much and you don't use it, that's fine. You only have to pay back what you borrow, but you get 66% of it back as long as it's used for lead lines. So, and the other thing to put on top of it is the funding that's going to be out there in the foreseeable future after this funding runs out it doesn't look very good. The federal government has cut a lot of programs, funding programs. So we're hoping that there's going to be some changes to that. But this is a really good funding option, and knowing that we have to replace lead lines, I recommend the city do this. So, is there any questions on lead and copper rule or lead service lines, or why we're doing this? It's a lot.
Motion to approve task order number 21.
Second it.
Okay. Any more discussion?
Obviously, you're looking for the lead coming in, and you're going to find that inspecting at the meter going out.
Yeah, so one thing that Adam's done is he's gone into a lot of the homes and checked the water meters, and if you find those service line coming into the home, you can determine that side of the service line. The state and EPA require that we identify both sides. So it's easy to go into a home or send them a survey and have them fill it out, like, hey, this is what I have coming into my home for that side of the service line. But between the water main and the curb stop, it's a whole nother deal. You'd have to pothole it if you don't have records that tell you what it is. So yeah, that's the problem there. But another good piece, like good news thing, is Washburn. I'm expecting to get Category B funding for Washburn, and we'll be able to nail down the rest of those private side lines. So we'll eliminate all of our unknowns on the private side. There should be really no reason why we can't, unless there's someone out there that does not allow us in their house at all. Then obviously we can't go check it out to see what they have. But that'll help narrow it down even more.
If it's on the homeowner side of the meter, then what? Will they get funding to change plumbing in their house, or?
So that is not something that is being required. So if they have lead, you're talking like lead plumbing, interior plumbing, that's not something that the city is going to be responsible for doing.
Right.
The public water system is going to be responsible for it.
But yeah, so you're working your way back from the meter, but yeah, without potholing, you wouldn't you're gonna start where you see lead,
Yes.
work back.
Yeah.
And then from there, maybe pothole on some of the branch.
You would pothole, if like say you have no records to show, you'd have to pothole probably right next to the curb stop. I'd try to avoid potholing in the street if possible. Obviously that's gonna cost more money, but if there's, say the curb stop's in the yard or in the boulevard, we'll try to dig up there and find that out. But as far as potholing goes, I don't want to freak anybody out on that yet. Let's cross that bridge when we get to it. The state has not said if there's going to be alternative methods to determine service line material. There is alternate methods that you could do. There's statistical analysis methods. If you show in a certain area that there's this many types of material, that you could make a good justification that the rest of them are the same too. You could do a water test to determine that. That's not exactly cheap either, but it's a lot better than tearing up or digging a bunch of holes. But the state has not issued any guidance on that yet. There's other states that they have, but unfortunately for North Dakota right now, the only thing that they're telling us that they'll take is a visual inspection. So, or if you have records, and if you don't have records, then it's down to a visual inspection.
Just on that topic, for all the public side, do we know where all the curb stops are? Like everywhere, might be missing one or two.
I think we have a list of about 40. We don't know where they're at. But
And then once we locate those, just assuming they'll get added, and then we'll know from now on. Okay, this would be useful in that regards as well.
So it's kind of a beast, this lead and copper rural improvements. The big dates to keep in mind is November of 2027. That's when the inventory update becomes your baseline, and the EPA and the state are going to require 10% lead lines replaced per year for 10 years. And if you fall behind the 10%, they want you to at least maintain a 3-year average of 10% of your lead lines. Your baseline inventory, once you submit that, all of your unknowns, they treat them as if they're lead. So that's, again, another reason why you want to really eliminate as many of the unknowns as possible.
Because it ups the percentage of amount you'll do per year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Then you might end up.
Say we only have
no more unknowns. Yeah.
We get this funding and we replace the 15 we know of. We discover a few more, we replace them. Now we're down to just unknowns.
But
Well,
you still have the requirement per year.
once 2027 happens, they're like, okay, you have 200 unknowns. You got to replace 20 a year. So, like I said, I don't want to freak anybody out about that. Let's cross that bridge when we get there. Let's just work on the known lead, and we'll get that done with this funding, and then we'll see where we're at once we get to that point. I feel like there's going to be a lot of pushback on the state from all the communities that will have a little bit better guidance from them on what actually has to be done once we get to that point. If we've eliminated all the unknowns on one side of the line and all known leads are eliminated, now we're just down to unknowns on the public side, which is the goal. If we can get that to 0, obviously that's better, but
Okay.
So
basically do what we can do now, and then
yes,
what we're required to do later.
yes, yep.
Makes sense. No overachieving in this regard.
Well, from experience, I found that they've changed their policies on things.
Right.
Like you work towards one thing, and it's like, oh, we have a change to the rule, or so we'll do everything we can now that we know we have to do, and then once we get to that point, then we know we have a good amount of time to get things done. If that's still their rule, and hopefully they have better guidance at that point, so we can go at it a more efficient way and less costly way.
We change the month before the deadline. Figure out how that works. Okay.
Yeah.
Motion second on the table then.
Yep.
Yes.
Any more discussion? If not, Jamie?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, then I think we're up to A2S update. I don't want to steal Adam's thunder because he's been tracking it a lot better than I have at the PRV project. Adam, do you want to talk about that?
Well, it's mostly finished. I haven't talked to the guys that were still up there after I left, but the PRV is in place. There's water to it. As far as it's connected to the other side, I wasn't sure if they got that far or not.
Yeah, so they did get everything connected, and they were just going to be starting it up when I was heading back down to the meeting. So that's good news, as long as there's no leaks or nothing like that. But contractor was going to get everything as close as he could get. I'm looking at next week, probably having the supplier's representative come out from Clayville and make sure we're dialed up as precisely as we can be on that PRV. And hopefully there's, everyone is happy with the service they'll be getting there on their water pressure and stuff. But like I said, we will also be watching the distribution system and cast iron mains and things like that could, any even little change in pressure that can cause changes in the distribution system and stresses, and especially in the older lines that we have. So just be watching that. But in addition to that, that's the one up by the old water tower that everyone's more concerned about. Also on East 4th Avenue, we have another PRV. That vault and those valves, the gate valves are in okay shape. So we're just going to change out the PRV.
Mm-hmm.
So that has to be done yet too. And checking with the contractor, he believes that obviously the priority is 6th Avenue. That one gets done. Then he'll be going down there to get that valve changed out. I want to make sure those valves are installed before we have the rep come out here so that he can look at both of them. So we'll make sure that we're coordinated on that as well. And then, like I said, hopefully everything goes good to start up and everyone's happy there.
Where's that second PRV?
On East 4th Avenue. So if you...
The bottom of 14.
Yeah, yep. Bottom of 14th, yep.
Okay.
Just on the right, the bottom right.
You know where Arjun Wagner lives?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a dead end
Yeah.
on 4th.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And that's it comes down to Main from there. The water main does.
Okay.
Okay. I talked about the street and drainage. We talked about the street and drainage improvements project. Like I said, the DWR funding application, we have the model and the inundation maps done, and we're working on the economic analysis and funding application. I'm expecting to have that submitted in December. And then we'll find out from DWR this coming spring on funding there. That will fund the drainage improvements portion of that project. Not all of it. It'll fund, we're hoping to get 60% if we can, but that's more to follow on that. And the Flex Fund grant application we submitted already back in September, I think. We're expecting to see results on that by the end of this year. That's going to fund the asphalt portion of the street and drainage improvements project. The amount is to be determined. Hopefully we get a lot. Talked about lead and copper already, more than I'd like to. Riverside Park road improvements, we have the special road fund grant. That's a 60-40 grant to be used by the end of 2026. And Jamie, you and I still need to get figured out if we want to do what the proposed improvements were, or if we want to reduce the amount of improvements on that.
Sure.
So I think maybe we plan to come up, I plan to come up when we look at that project with the street and drainage improvements.
Yep. Yeah, we should group them together.
Okay.
So
When I get, I'll do it after I get the updated numbers, which that shouldn't take me long on street and drainage project. I'll get those numbers first, and then I'll come up and we can look at some of that stuff.
okay, you'll let me know that.
Yeah, hopefully before we get like another winter blast, but so we can have good looks on the street and everything. So
Gotcha.
but yeah, I'll get in touch with you on that.
Okay.
That's all I have, unless you guys have questions for me.
I send that, Eric.
I'm gonna have to send you another one
Sure.
because I didn't have my OM sign it yet.
Okay.
I apologize for that, but I'll send it to Chelsea, and then I'll have her let you know to come in and sign that one.
Thank you.
So,
All right.
thanks very much.
Thanks, Eric. Thanks, Eric. All right, 20 commission portfolios. Jamie, do you have anything you want to cover?
No, I think we've kind of talked about everything.
Okay. Keith?
Oh, what's 21 then? Portfolio's a new business. This isn't like a separate thing. No? Okay,
No.
fine. Okay, yeah, nothing to report then. Sorry, I thought we
I don't know how I put that on there twice.
No, that's fine. I thought we were just about, because we specifically talked about it last meeting, like, hey,
Sure.
about this. I thought we were revisiting that, but there's a comment mark.
Jamie, with the street that they're doing with this chip sealing stuff, is that as much as what they're gonna do? As far as like the gravel's gonna be exposed, cause I noticed that on 8th Street past the interpretive center, that all looks like all brand new blacktop in it. I assume that's a chip sealing thing as well. Are they gonna continue to finish here, or are they done, or?
So from what I understand, what they did up there was a fog seal. And what a fog seal is, they put another layer of oil on top of the chip seal.
Okay.
What we did in town was just a chip seal.
Okay.
Um,
That's what I was wondering, cause I noticed a big difference, and I'm kinda like, wow,
yeah.
that's like driving on beautiful blacktop.
Yep.
And over here, you've got, all they did was where you have a little dip of the thing, they chip seal follows the dip in the, it didn't really smooth anything out, where over there you had a couple of different, little flippies in there, there was one where it says dip on the thing and it's gone, so I mean, I said, wow, that's a little different. I didn't know if this was done or how much more was gonna be done, cause it wasn't really,
Are you talking
everybody
on,
says
is that
chip
on,
seal and that's it.
is that on the highway or is that on?
83, I'm sorry, on
Yeah.
8th Street, going out past the interpretive center.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's what you're asking me about, Raymond?
yeah, Eric and I, we visited on that because if they do that fog spray, that's quite a bit added expense to the chip sealing project.
Okay.
It would add some expense. I wouldn't say it's quite a bit more, but
Oh.
it's just another.
I was just
It's
wondering.
I would say you're paying a little bit more money to get another layer of oil,
Oh,
and
okay.
that's why it's.
I didn't know if that was gonna happen with this, or if this was what we were gonna get out here type of thing.
If they were to do a fog seal, they would do it right after they're done sweeping.
Oh,
They would
okay.
fog
All
seal
right,
it.
okay.
Maybe we'll look at that. We'll look
That
at those
was
numbers.
my question, cause I mean, it just seems so nice out there, it's like, boy, this is really nice driving through that.
It's aesthetically a lot more pleasing, yes.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah, and it did, plus there's, there was that one bump as you were going down that one hill that was kinda. Yeah, you weren't paying attention, it kinda wake you up.
Right.
But I didn't know, like I say, if we were waiting on this, or if it was 2, 3, 4 stage project, whatever, I just wanted a clarification, that's all, thank you.
I guess, yeah, just a small thing I just remembered while we were talking about that, with HR, we talked about merit increases and COLA, and that's not completely ready yet, but by our next meeting, just to give you a heads up, so.
Okay.
That was some of the main stuff.
Is that it? Okay, I got 2 items, the memorial building, SP&E did the changes they needed to do to that basketball hoop. Adam and Zach were there to inspect, to make sure they're hitting all the pulleys. Sounds like everything went really well.
Yep.
Okay. The other item is we had a incident with the lower lagoon. There was a report that, right there, that Adam put out. What happened is we overflowed the lower lagoon into the Missouri River. The state was notified, the county was notified, and we turned it over to insurance for any damages to the Avers property. So just waiting to hear back on that.
It's just a quick comment on what you guys said with HR. They did a really good job of like getting everything, the P's and Q's straight. We even went over all the things, all the permissions, and even implementing things so stuff like that doesn't happen in the future. So they did a really good job of rectifying that situation.
That's one thing, thanks for bringing that up. I did talk to, and he put it in his report, how we can, try to prevent an issue like this happening again. Everybody was honest and open of what happened. The landowner called me and I reached out to Adam and Zach. And, it was dealt with right away, within like an hour. All right, besides that.
I have one more thing, and if I don't mention this, Abby's gonna kill me, so. BND funding, since you guys are pretty sure on the street and drainage improvements project, BND the Bank of North Dakota has the infrastructure revolving loan fund, and that's a really good mechanism for funding transportation projects. So we wanna get the DOT loan or the DOT grant, right?
Mhm.
That we're hopeful to get at the end of this year. But as far as like getting funding for doing streets, SRF doesn't really fund streets specifically. They fund streets as long as there's a utility being replaced underneath them. So like you can, for clean water SRF, you can get a 10-foot wide width of street replaced for the sewer. Indeed, drinking water SRF, you replace the water main, you can get another 10 feet of the street replaced. But just to replace streets, SRF doesn't really go well with that. So BND is the funding source, and their application is due December 5th. So I would go forward with putting an application. It's just an application. It's not like tying you to a commitment, but I would work with Abby to submit that if that's something you guys want us to do for this project.
And I make a motion to submit that application.
Second it. Any more discussion? Amy? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thanks for bringing that up there.
Sorry, I forgot about it.
No, that's all right. That's pretty much all I got for portfolio. Chelsea?
The special election is December 2nd. We are doing that here. If anybody is interested in working, I will take a few more workers. We'll have it open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. like normal polling hours, but it will be here, not at the Memorial Hall. We're just going to do it in this building. City Hall is closed tomorrow. That means Memorial Building will be closed for walkers as well. And then just to touch on, I guess, with the lead and copper lines, there are more letters going out. So if you get a letter from the city of Washburn, please don't throw it away. Read it, cooperate, because the more known lines that we have is going to help us from having the unknown lines. So they will be similar to the ones that went out last year. We do know some lead lines. We do have some galvanized. So if we have those separated, we'll be receiving letters, but they will be going out the end of this week. Please participate. There's no participation in this one?
No.
They don't have to fill it out?
No.
I don't know.
Okay, that's just a notice.
It's just a notice.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
This one is.
I thought we had to get the unknowns again.
Not at this one.
Oh, okay. That's all I have.
Okay. Adam?
Yeah, if you guys have any questions about the included report, that's okay. If not,
Were you able to get hold of the park board about the water meter on there?
not yet. I'll talk to him tomorrow. I was busy at the PRV project today, so.
And what about the one at the swimming pool? You know, if they pulled their,
It's kind of on them, so yeah, I don't know if they pulled it or not.
just give them a reminder.
Yep.
Okay. You guys have anything? No? All right, next meeting, December 8th, 2025, meeting adjourned.